this video, we're going to be talking about the worst hero combos in all of Overwatch. If you're playing these combos, you're giving yourself a huge disadvantage in your games, and doing this too much might even be costing you that rank up that you've been so desperately pining for. So we're going to break it all down, but do me a huge solid and smash that like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and let's jump into the video. Now, there's a lot of heroes that just don't go well together. These characters just don't synergize well with a team or with each other, and it creates inconsistencies in your composition. And let's talk about some of the general ones that you should most likely avoid, and then some ways to just avoid all of them and make sure that you're always playing semi-synergistic characters, or at least avoiding the ones that could cost you that precious SR. The most common one you hear is Lucio Mercy, perhaps one of the worst support combos in the game, and it comes down to this simple fact. Mercy wants to primarily damage boost targets, and Lucio primarily wants to speed people around. There's not a lot of healing that is going out in this composition, and you might be saying, but Mills, healing is just a small part of what supports are supposed to do, and I would agree with you, but if we think about where these characters line up in, Mercy wants to be with something that is very mobile, like a Pharah or Echo, or wants to be with something that pokes from a distance, like a hit scan DPS, and Lucio doesn't want to poke and doesn't help a Pharah or Echo do anything. So you gotta understand that there's not really that much synergy that goes on between these two characters, and this is why it's one of the worst support combos in the game. Another combo that is really bad is Sigma Genji, and we're crossing roles here. But the reason that this duo is so bad is that Sigma is a character that wants to keep his distance, constantly poke and whittle down the enemy team, and Genji's a character that oftentimes wants to go in, dive, find an opportunity, and brawl out the enemy team, getting resets with his dash, and Sigma just doesn't want to do that. He wants to attrition enemies out, whittle them down, and allow his team to find pick opportunities. So Genji and Sigma just both operate on different fundamental axes, and that means that they don't synergize very well at all. This would also be true for a duo like Winston Torb. Torb wanting to poke from distance, set up in a very specific spot, and basically hold and contest space, while Winston wants to aggressively challenge space. Very, very different characters that want to do completely different things. Now, I could go all day about heroes that are specifically not meant to be played together, and you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage by playing them together, but let me just instead give you 3 rules that if you follow them, this will not happen. So first thing, you want to make sure that you're not picking characters that completely do different things. Just to follow up on the examples we gave, there is 3 primary types of compositions: poke, brawl, and dive, and every character wants to do something along these lines. There's a little bit of variation, but we'll get to that. So if your character wants to poke, they want to do things from range, they want to apply pressure from distance, they want to look for pickoffs, and if your character doesn't do that or help your team do that, they don't belong in the composition. The perfect example we gave is Genji and Lucio, 2 characters that do not want to poke. Genji wants to dive primarily, Lucio wants to brawl or dive. Neither of these characters want to poke, so if you play them with any character that only can poke or primarily can poke, then there's going to be a synergy break, and these combos are going to be terrible. Moving on to Brawl, this is a composition that wants to get in close, get in from close effective range, and start beating down, providing damage, and trading resources on the front line. And if you're playing any character that can only brawl, then you don't really want to play a character that doesn't brawl at all. So if you're playing a Reinhardt, for example, then playing a Widowmaker with a Reinhardt doesn't really synergize together in any way. Now, of course, in Ranked, in the chaotic nature of Ranked, you could probably get it to work. You know, the Rein creates space and the Widow uses that opportunity to try to get a snipe. But that's pretty much true for no matter what character you play, but the playstyles that the characters are going to be doing are fundamentally separate from one another. So you're almost like popping off or doing your job separately and not together, which is one of the reasons why oftentimes you'll have problems where you'll get a couple snipes on Widow and nothing happens, or you're popping off and going in really aggressively on Rein and there's no follow-up and you feel like you have an advantage, but you still lose. You feel like you get picks and you still lose the fight because your Widow doesn't hit snipes in those key moments, and no one is really doing their jobs together, they're doing their jobs separately. And then we move on to dive, and of course, if you want your team to be diving, you want your team to have mobility, you want your team to be able to go in, or you want your team to be able to aid in that, right? To help with that. So if you're rocking a Roadhog with Tracer Genji, there's a synergy break there, once again, where if the Hog pops off and the Genji Tracer pops off, everyone's popping off separate from one another, and you're going against the flow, which sure, you could still win, you could still all get picked separately, you could still all pop off separately, but if you all move together, if you avoid these synergy breaks, it's way easier to just win team fights and just climb in general, because it doesn't require everyone to pop off individually in order to win team fights. It just requires for you to pop off collectively, which is way easier when you're all helping each other. It's just easier to be on the same page when everyone's trying to do very similar things. The next thing is heroes that don't enable each other or help to enable someone else. And the easiest example here is like a Pharah with a Baptiste. Yeah, the Baptiste could technically hit a shot on the Pharah, but it would be very, very hard to do reliably. And yes, the Pharah could shoot from distance and so could the Baptiste, but the Baptiste and the Pharah just don't really want to do the same things, nor do they synergize or help each other. You gotta think about synergies in a one-off situation, and while it's not like every single healer needs to be able to support the Pharah, if you're rocking a Pharah with no healers that could support you, like a Lucio Bap or a Moira Bap, then that's a synergy break, and that's the worst combo you could be playing, because you just don't have the resources you need to function, and then everything else just kind of falls apart. It doesn't even matter about trying to go with the flow with the composition, because none of these characters can enable you in any way. And this actually happens more often than you think. You know, if you're a Tracer, you're gonna have a lot easier time getting long distance across the map heals from certain characters than from others, and that's just kind of something that you need to think about. And kind of the same thing is true for tanks, like Bastion without a tank that can protect you in some way. Like a Bastion with a Hog is gonna be really, really hard to make work most of the time. The Hog just doesn't care about you at all, will not enable you or help you, and that's a synergy break that is going to be hard for you to do anything. But like a DM or a bubble or a shield, there's like a million other things that could easily enable you to be more effective. Now, the last thing that I want you to understand is that in ranked, a lot of people are going to kind of play what they want to play, and you're not going to be able to control or avoid every single bad hero combo in the game, but you do need to understand what your teammates are going to provide you with and help you with if you're picking any hero. Sure, you might be a Genji main, and then you get paired with a Sigma main, and that's a synergy break. But if those are your best heroes, it might make sense for y'all to play those characters, but you need to understand that you're not going to be able to just dive in and get a ton of resets. And the Sigma is going to be looking to attrition things out, so you can adapt your playstyle around the Sigma, play more poke-centric, play to your Dragon Blade, or you could just understand that if you go in, you need to create the value alone. You're not going to have nearly as much resources from your tank. It's not going to be as easy as when you have a Winston or a Doomfist or a Diva. So it's not that you always have to avoid every single bad hero combo or lack of synergy, because that's just impossible, but you do have to change your play and understand how some compositions just work really well together and everyone's going to naturally be on the same page, and other compositions, you're going to have to swap up how you play, how you take engagements, and what you expect from your teammates, or else you're just going to be disappointed, doing plays that won't work, and feeding a lot of the time. But if you have any questions about any of these concepts, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for coming by. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.